Hey guys, so welcome back to Mental Health Mondays and another topic for the Smashing the Stigma. I really wanted to tackle the issue of mental hospitals. People don't know what they are and what kind of happens there. Even people within the mental health bubble who are suffering from mental illness might not necessarily know. I know for one that I definitely didn't. I literally had no clue that this whole world that I was opened up to existed. So yeah, the main stigma is kind of that mental hospitals contain loads of these crazy kind of probably old people, you know, who are just walking around in like straight jackets or whatnot. I had a comment when I asked you guys about stigmas within mental health, and one girl mentioned this, that people think that mental hospitals are full of crazy people when in fact they're just really normal and helpful. I feel like they should get to a place where they are kind of on par with physical hospitals. They're just not seen as the same as physical hospitals, but again, this is probably just because there's so few of them compared to, you know, big general hospitals. It's kind of like the unknown, isn't it? Like, if you don't know what something is, you're gonna assume bad things. You're gonna go by the things that you've seen on TV. All these TV programs and horror films that have mental asylums in them, let's just talk about them for a minute. Obviously, mental hospitals throughout the years have varied, and yes, they did used to be pretty bad. Those days are gone. way gone. But that's the kind of general gist of what TV programs and films do show. There's different types of mental hospitals. There are places like Broadmoor where there are mentally ill criminals, and there are other high security units, and there's places for adolescents to go. You know, you get different levels of security depending on kind of your condition. So I thought I would just tell you guys a little bit about like my experience with a psychiatric unit so you can get kind of understanding. I just thought, you know, if I can tell people kind of what it's like and give you guys a bit of information about this kind of scary topic, then hopefully it will seem less scary. So when I was introduced to the topic of mental health hospitals, I was very ill. I kind of became very ill quite quickly, over a few weeks kind of in the summer, and I've been back and forth to the doctors and put in A&E multiple times. And one time when I was admitted into A&E following an attempt, I had a visit from these people from this certain psychiatric unit, and you know, they were there to like assess me as to whether, you know, it was going to be suitable for me. I had at this point heard kind of a little bit about psychiatric hospitals because one of my friends was actually in there already in that specific hospital. But in my mind, I just saw it as kind of this mini general hospital with the same kind of layout, you know, like the beds in the wards. I thought I was gonna have to be in a room with like all these people and just be on bed rest all day. So yeah, anyway, they assessed me, decided that I had to go there, so I went straight from the general hospital into a psychiatric facility, and I was called an emergency patient. Now that is not the normal process. Usually there will be a kind of planned admission. You and your GP or your mental health team or whoever will set a date, you will pack and everything. I just got literally sent straight there from the hospital with just the stuff that I had then. I didn't really care, or I didn't really know what was going on. So yeah, that's how I got there initially. It was very different to how I'd kind of imagined it in my mind. The way I describe it to people who don't know what it's like is a kind of, you know, when you went on a school trip, a recreational trip where you did like outdoor activities and stuff, it's like kind of accommodation for that. So like say a huge house slash building with bedrooms, like dorms but not dorms. So obviously it depends on the hospital, but usually there's just like bed, furniture, whatnot, and some of them have bathrooms. We had like a girls lounge and a boys lounge and a room with like a table tennis thing in it. Then there's like the kitchen and then 2 mini kitchens, and there was grounds as well that you could like take a walk on if you're allowed. I was lucky enough to have my own bedroom. I literally just stayed in there for like the whole first day. I didn't want to go out and meet anyone. At this point I was like, oh shit, like where the hell am I? Like I just want to go home. But in the end, like most people, I did end up making friends. Obviously because you have so much in common with the people that you're in there with, like you're bound to kind of talk to a few of them. Obviously everyone has their own things going on, but I am still in contact with quite a few people that I actually met in there. I was a inpatient, which means that you stay there, you basically live there, but you can be a day patient, which means you're just there during the day and then you go home to sleep at night. So my experience in hospital was a pretty positive one in the end. Obviously, I say positive, you know, as positive as it can be when you're in a state like that. So with us, we had kind of, you know, daily therapy, there was like group therapy and then individual therapy, occupational therapy where we did like arts and stuff. Whatever you're in there for, it will be different. And I know that unfortunately not all hospitals were as pleasant as mine were. Inpatient hospitals are so important. I don't think it's like a cure, like just shove everyone in a mental hospital and everyone will be fine. For me, I feel like it's definitely one of the things that saved my life. Like if I wasn't put into hospital at the point that I was, I would have just continued the pattern of, you know, kind of ending up in A&E, getting released, ending up in A&E. I think it's really important to help break that pattern. And obviously it's not 100% success rate, but it is literally ridiculous when mental health is such a huge crisis nowadays. Why do they not have more mental health hospitals and also mental health A&Es? I watched this program a few years ago and it was on the first mental health A&E hospital and it was just amazing. Like the whole concept of it, they'd just done it so well, tailored to mental illnesses, not tailored to physical illnesses. I was only in an adolescent unit for a couple of months because I had my 18th birthday. And when you turn 18, in the eyes of mental health, you are an adult, which of course, like when you're mentally ill, it basically takes you back to like your childhood in some ways because you can't do certain things, you know. And because there's literally such a rarity of beds around me, I didn't go straight into another hospital. I went into the community, as they call it, and had like intensive help in the community. I don't know, looking back, if I would have preferred to be in another hospital. I don't know how things would have ended up, but obviously everything happens for a reason. But it's just so sad that there's such a lack of beds and there's so much overcrowding. And then they keep closing down hospitals like there isn't already kind of an overflow waiting list. It is literally ridiculous. There are also private ones which you can pay for, but they cost an absolute fortune, and obviously not everyone has that amount of money. So yeah, in conclusion, mental hospitals are nowhere near as crazy as you'd expect. Yes, things go down. Yes, the people in there are mentally ill, but it's surprisingly more normal than you would think. There was actually a program, I think it was on BBC Three, was it last year or the year before, which was called Don't Call Me Crazy. And that was kind of like doing an insight into a unit, was it in Manchester? I'm not sure. Which I thought was good, but again, because it is a TV series, they've obviously gotta make it entertaining. So yeah, they did show the more kind of dramatic moments. I do get quite a few people come to me and say that they're about to go in inpatient and they're really scared and they don't know what to expect. So I thought I would just kind of end this video with a couple of tips for those of you who might be in a similar situation. Number one is do not panic. Trust me, you are going to a safe place. I saw it as like a little safe bubble. It's like a whole completely different world, but yeah, try not to panic. Take deep breaths. Number two is pack some home comforts. So I took cushions, duvet covers, a picture of Lola, who was a puppy at the time, and little notebooks and things like that. Number three is bring things to entertain yourself with. We had one TV and it was actually off in the day. So this is when I developed my love of arrow words and crosswords and reading every single magazine. Number four is find out the rule with mobile phones before you go in, because I know with my facility we weren't allowed anything with a camera on, so I just used the payphone, but everyone had kind of, you know, the rubbish little phones which they put credit on. And number five, just look after yourself and try and make the most of the experience, even if you are absolutely dreading it and you hate it when you're there and you don't want to join in. Try your hardest to shut the thing up in your head and, you know, just think about how beneficial the experience can be for you as a person and how it can help you make the next step to kind of getting your life back. If you do want any more tips or if you want to chat about anything, all my social medias and my email are in the description below, and let me know if you're liking these style of videos, if you're finding them helpful, if you have any suggestions. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you did like it and you found it helpful. I'm going to leave you with another one of my favourite quotes, which is "Stars can't shine without darkness." And I will see you very soon. Bye!